Hey guys, I'm back. Video 24 of 365, doing a video every day for a whole year. I'm Samantha, I'm a therapist, and I want to help you master yourself and get you back to feeling good. If it's been a while since you felt good, just really take in my words and really think about if this could possibly be you someday, feeling amazing about yourself instead of feeling down in the dumps or like you're spiraling all the time, or you're anxious or worried or panicked all the time about basically the same thing every day. So I had some client sessions today, as I do, a few days a week now, and I find myself talking about pretty much the same things with the same, not the same people, but the same things every week and every day with people struggling with, how do I trust myself? How do I get out of this spiral I'm in? I hear a lot of people say the word spiral and a lot of people say the word stuck. And so one thing you can remember is that your imagination is creating your reality every single second. So we're creating by default, or we're creating by being conscious of what we're creating, being conscious of our thoughts every second that we can, of course. You can't, of course, be conscious of every single thought because we have, 60 to 70,000 thoughts per day. So that's going to be a little bit, difficult. Like that would be your full-time job and you couldn't even keep up with that. So, and you don't get overtime for that. So you don't want to like be obsessive and psychotic about thinking about your thoughts, but you want to think about what you're thinking dominantly, because whatever that is projecting out into your world. And it's being mirrored back to you in many different people and situations and events and things that happen. So it's worth kind of digging around inside yourself to audit your thoughts and think about, what am I thinking that is hurting me? Because I call it kind of like we're abusing ourselves with our thoughts, especially if you're abused in the past and you're abusing yourself now with your thoughts. Like if you really think about that, like you didn't want to be abused when you were back in the day, and now you're doing it again to yourself. And so it's almost like you're your own abuser. Isn't that terrible? It's like we're hurting ourselves with our thoughts about ourselves. There are people with just such negative self-concepts. They just talk to themselves so badly. And what I've always used in sessions is I'll ask, would you talk to a 3-month-old baby the way that you talk to yourself? And of course they say no, or how would you talk to your child if your child were 5 years old, would you speak to them this way? And they always say no. I have heard the most, self-deprecating things from people, like, I'm so fat, I'm so ugly. People would be scared if they looked at me. And it's so sad that we do that to ourselves. And so I really want you to think about what your dominant thoughts are about yourself, because we are addicted to complaining. We are addicted to self-abuse. If you really look at it like self-abuse, like if you define it like that, that might help you a little bit to get out of it. But sometimes that can make us feel worse. So then we have to do some more digging and think, am I addicted to just feeling bad? And that's a real thing, because it's more familiar than feeling good. And then a lot of people don't want to feel good because they're scared that the feeling good feeling is going to go away, or it's going to be taken away, or the other shoe's going to drop. So why would I want to feel good? And they don't trust that they can feel good forever. And you really can, because you're creating every second. You become what you believe. So you really have to think about, what do you believe about yourself? And there's so many other things I'll talk about on this channel about, like, manifesting money and manifesting a specific person and things like that. But I really want to start with self-concept most, because the self is the most important thing to change and is the only thing to change. There is no one to change but self. You never want to change matter with matter. You always want to change matter through energy. And if you change things through energy, instead of trying to fight the fight that you always fight every day with other people or yourself, it's like, go within your imagination and create something that you actually want to feel. Decide what you want to be. Every day say, no, I'm not that anymore. I'm this. I am this now. I am this now. It's almost like I've said in a couple other videos, you have to tell your brain what you want it to think. your brain will think on autopilot. It's pretty dumb, actually. I like to say the brain's dumb because it's programmed and it's just going to stay that way until you tell it to do something else. So I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, tell your brain what you want it to think and really, really think about that statement. Tell your brain what you want it to think. If you could tell your brain to think anything you want it to think, what would it be? And be limitless with it. There are no limits because it's your reality. You're creating it anyway. What are you afraid of? You're doing it. It's so cool to know that. You have control every second. And that is just amazing for people that think that they don't have any control or that they're powerless. When you take responsibility for it and you say, okay, if I take responsibility for this, then that means I have power. I can create anything I want and I can have anything I want. I can be anything I want, do anything I want. I just have to believe that I can. So if you don't believe that you can, how can I believe just 1% more than I do right now? What thought could I tell myself? What thought could I really tell myself? Well, maybe you could say, well, maybe I could start to believe that I actually create my reality. Maybe I could start to believe that, you know? And again, on my wall over here on a note card, I have this written on a note card that says, create knowings with no evidence. So you just have to know something with no evidence. You have to have a vision for yourself. Who do you want to be? What kind of life do you want? You keep on your vision. You do not let the clowns and flying monkeys around you distract you, because they're there to distract you. You're actually creating these distractions for yourself. I wouldn't call it a test, but you know, when those distractions come up, you get to decide what happens in that moment. You just get to decide, do I go to the old self that's programmed, or do I go to the new self? Who am I now? If you're the old self, you're going to let those things distract you and you're going to keep doing the same pattern that you've always done. But when you decide to be the new self and you kill the old self off, because we don't need that old self anymore. It was great while it lasted. Thank you, old self, for, you know, helping me survive and getting me to my new self, because you helped me get there. I don't need you anymore, though. You've done your job. Thank you very much. I don't need it anymore. I'm going to create a new self. And that's basically how you change your identity. You know, you change it at the root level. I told a client today, too, I said, when we blame another person for something, we're actually abandoning ourselves. And it's the brain kind of like always looks for solutions. So it's always trying to do something. So when you're worried about something, you're worried because your brain is like, oh my God, I got to find a solution. And so it creates worry because it feels like you're doing something when you're worrying. Isn't that so crazy? It's like, we don't need to do all that. Just skip that. And you ask yourself, does that serve me or does it not serve me? Because most of the time it doesn't serve you and it doesn't feel good. And so you just 1% get a little bit better. Maybe I could decide that I could actually do this. Maybe I could decide that, you know, I can actually be the strong, powerful person that I know that I was born to be. You are worthy because you exist. You are worthy. You are everything. You are amazing. You are powerful. You can have and be and do anything you want. You just have to start programming that in. Your old self is programmed by most likely other traumatized people that their opinions don't matter. They never did. You just made meaning out of what they would say to you or what they did to you. You made a meaning out of it. You internalized it, made it be about you and your worth, and then you just carried that with you. The shame, the self-abuse, just the horrible things that we say to ourselves and the things that we do to ourselves too. That's another thing. So when you become a new person and you have a new self-concept, you will naturally just start shifting into new thoughts, new behaviors, and then new circumstances will start happening. So I really recommend, everybody talks about SATs, you know, state akin to sleep, what Neville Goddard taught. And I really think it's a powerful exercise. Just before you go to sleep, lay there for a few minutes and think about, how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? You know, like if I could wake up tomorrow and a magic wand just was waved over my whole life, what would my life look like tomorrow? And I want you to sit in that fantasy world, because your reality or your imagination is actually your reality. That's the real reality. What you're seeing in the 3-dimensional reality right now has already been created from your imagination. It's projected out from your imagination. And if you don't believe that, you can study quantum physics or look at, you know, just physics, simple physics in general. But if you don't want to do all that and you want to just get straight to the point, just start saying, well, maybe I could believe that I am actually creating this, like a Sims, game. What if I actually am? I started doing that myself when I first learned about this. I was like, what if I am actually doing this? What if it is just me against me? I thought about that. I was like, wow, that would be so cool, because that means if I did this, then that means I can do everything else. So really take that in. I'm going to see if I have anything. I took some notes so I would stay on track a little bit. Oh, yeah, and how to trust yourself. That was another thing that came up today. How do you trust yourself? And I said, trusting yourself is like you're consistent with yourself. You decide who you are, and then your thoughts and behaviors align with that. And it's almost like you're consistent and dependable with yourself. So you can trust that what you decide is it. That's the truth for you. And then from there, you just keep showing up for you. Like I'm showing up in these videos. Again, I didn't get butterflies today to do a video. Like normally I get a little bit of butterflies, but I'm excited. But like today I was just like, oh, it's just part of the routine. Let's do it, And so, again, if you're over 40 or under 40, whatever age you are, get on here and start teaching something, because, anybody has something to teach. I don't care what your age is. I think the over 40 thing right now is, I think that it's just like, some of us might be in our second or third life, divorces and kids grown and out of the house, or all kinds of things, life transitions. So if you have a life transition, which you do, I know you do, then you have something to teach somebody that needs to hear your message. So really get it out there and have fun with it, because there's something out there for everybody. And behind me, like I always have this behind me, this is one of my meditations, and I love the colors, and I just love it. But one of those meditations has got, almost 500 views, I think, right now. And that's the best video I have so far. So I love meditations. I just love putting those up, and they seem to be helping some people. So I highly recommend watching some of my meditations, not only to get my watch hours up, that would be awesome, but they really are amazing. I prescribe them to clients, and they really help to kind of take you out of your old self and kind of calm your human brain down, so you can start allowing some better feelings in. And you're basically teaching your body and your nervous system how to relax. You have to teach your body to stop and sit like a dog. You got to train yourself. You're in mental muscle training every day. So that's what you're doing. And the more you do that, the more you become a different person. We want to change the identity. And then from the identity, that's when you can manifest a lot easier. You can manifest anything you want, anything. Esther Hicks says it's as easy to create a castle as it is a button. And I heard that years ago too, and it didn't really sink in, but I was like, a button and a castle, they're the same thing. Everything is the same. Everything is the same. Everyone, everything, everything's the same. You can manifest anything. You can manifest $1 just as easily, or $1 million just as easily as you could $1. Seriously. If you believe it, you will. It may not show up right away. It may not show up in a month. And then you look at that month and you're like, oh, it didn't show up in a month, or, oh, it didn't show up. I did it for 2 days and it didn't show up. That's not how this works. It can show up immediately. And in fact, when you think about something and you desire it, it actually shows up vibrationally. Yes, it's created. Creation is always finished. When you have a desire, it's always finished and it shows up. You just can't see it. But that's why I say create knowings with no evidence. I don't care what's going on around you. I don't care what, diagnosis and prognosis someone gave you. The more you identify with the label that someone puts on you, including the labels that you put on yourself, those are the ones you got to check really hugely. The more you put those labels on and you identify with those, that's who you become, because you believe that you have that. But there are people that have been healed overnight from tumors, from cancer, that was all over their body. They're healed overnight. These things can happen. I'll be talking about health stuff too on my channel, because I love to talk about health issues as well. But yeah, you can have anything you want, but remember that you become what you believe. So really remember that. And if you're ever having trouble sleeping or something, get one of my meditations. There's a link below for the playlist. And if you ever want to work with me, I'm available for one-on-one. It's not therapy. Can't call it therapy at all. It's not therapy. It's manifestation coaching, and I'm going to guide you back to yourself to get your self-concept in check. And if you're feeling anxious, panicked, or anything like that, that might be stopping you from manifesting. And so I can help you get through that if you need to. But these videos should, as I get better, they should help you a little bit more. So it was great talking to you. I hope you're doing fabulous and amazing, and I hope this helped you. And if it did, leave me a comment and please subscribe. I'm trying to get my subscribers up. I love all of you for subscribing. Thank you so much. I really appreciate everybody watching, and you guys have a wonderful day, afternoon, evening, whatever time it is where you are. And I love you, and have a wonderful, wonderful life. Bye.